Hello, my name is Waylon Lewis, and every week we'll bring you a new podcast with Elephant Journal. Hey y'all, my name is Waylon, and I'm the founder of Elephant Journal, and we've just come in from the cold, and I am here with a really lovely interview about the new year that is coming soon, the Lunar New Year. And I'm also here with the lovely Kelsey, my beautiful wife, and her beautiful sweater. And most exciting of all, our little munchkin, their little hat. And we're all gonna hang together. And here's Winnie. It's just a little family affair. And we are talking with Anjie, who may have already requested to join. One of my favorite guests ever. So we're going to talk about the Lunar New Year and what that means for you and what that means for all of us collectively. Hey, Anjie.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year almost.
Happy New Year, Angie.
So when
Yes.
is the Lunar New Year?
It's Tuesday, February 17th. And then I saw that Shambhala Day, Losar is on the 18th. I wonder why it's on the 18th.
Well, like I said, I think Tibetan and Chinese are often like one day apart.
Sometimes it's like a month apart though.
Yeah, I agree actually. No, that's true. So who knows?
I think this says a lot about I feel like this year is kind of like, even the beginning of this year is so hard to nail down, right?
Yeah, so let's talk about that.
It's very snake-like, if you will.
Yeah, so the last year was the year of the snake, which was incredibly smooth and easy and fun for everybody, right?
Oh yeah, everyone, it's very interesting. So almost everyone, no one has said that last year was wonderful. Even like you guys or some other friends had babies. They're like, even though we had a baby, 2025 sucked. It was so hard. It was such a uneaseful year.
I wrote a deeply meaningful article. You might have read it about 2025 and looking back and whatever. But the title was something like 2025 sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't that complex of a title for me to title. It wasn't like Shades of Grey and it was just hard. And of course, good, like you said, good things happened, but I don't think, in the era of our Lord Trump and, Gaza and climate crisis and just personal turmoil and change, the shedding of the snakeskin, right? I mean, you should tell us all about this. So we're coming out of the snake year. So tell us more about what we're coming out of.
So because also interestingly enough, I think because it's later and a lot of people had such a difficult 2025. So many people have asked me, what can I do right now in this transition? They recognize there's this bardo, right? This in-between space that feels important to pay attention to. And I think that since we're leaving the snake year, so we were talking about the snake sheds its skin, that's very important to think about. Also, it's much more of a subtle, kind of intuitive, but not a very direct year. So there's a lot of contrast with the horse energy. I think
before you move into the horse, I think what I find really validating and relaxing about when I read about the snake, it makes me feel so much better about 2025 being hard, because 2025 was about letting go, about shedding, you can tell me again, but turmoil. And when you read about 2025, you're like, oh, right, okay, that is what was happening. And it's not like just a destructive energy, it's a letting go and a transitioning and opening up for new things, but it's just hard.
Yes. Well, because it's also very indirect, right? Like a snake doesn't, the snake doesn't take the shortcut or the direct route. The snake really takes a long way to maybe to get to its destination if it ever gets there. So there's also that kind of painful part about letting things go. And to the question that's asked in the live, someone just asked if there's a few more weeks to shed energy. And yes, I mean, these transitions don't happen instantaneously, right? They're slow, but technically the switch to the horse year is February 4th, and then it's celebrated on the lunar new year, which is February 17th on Tuesday. So even that, there's not really a exact date. So it gives us an opportunity to start to question like how these transitions happen. So yes, of course, we have time. And also there's a story that I love to tell at this time of year specifically about the horse and the snake. So there's a story that there was the great Jade Emperor, and they invited all the animals in the kingdom to join this race to determine the order of the zodiac animals. And so so basically the snake curled up around the horse's leg and rode the whole race with the horse, but the horse had no idea. And then at the last minute, right before the finish line, the snake jumps off the horse, comes in 6th place. The horse comes in 7th. In the meantime, the horse is really startled. So that actually kind of gives us an indication that, like, what are we carrying in from the snake year? And there could still be a surprise that happens in this final transition that we're not sure about. But also there's a gift that the horse carried that snake all the way through. The snake would never have come in like 6th place without the help of the snake. So there's a lot of teachings about like, can we use the energy that's coming in, like all the teachings that we received and all the challenges we have, and how can we give that some different kind of energy? Like, what is the energy that's presented to us, and can we take the reins? Can we direct it? Can we be more intentional? And also not jump on the bandwagon and be kind of like a thoughtless, mindless person running in circles with all this energy, which is the potential that a horse has, right? A horse can walk with blinders on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, at least with the help in quotes of its human overlords. I think horses naturally, obviously, wouldn't be blinded in that way.
No, but a horse can also be very startled, very easily, and the horse can also is very sensitive. It also wants to be led. Like my partner, my Feng Shui partner that teaches with me, she's a equestrian, so she is really like in tune with horses. I don't know if you guys are.
Yeah.
But
horses.
Okay, like she's
Did you grow up riding and stuff?
In the summertime, yeah. My grandparents had a horse.
Yeah, I grew up with horses, and we owned a horse back when Boulder was affordable and you could do that.
And what kind of insights do you have, like, from owning a horse and loving horses, right?
I mean, for me, I remember riding bareback and like how sort of intuitive you are or have to be with the horse in order to like ride as a unit, you know?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
you
like
kind of like feel, I think of the feeling of like pressure on the legs and like interacting with the horse in that way, and like you're physically sort of riding together and feeding off of each other.
Yeah, that's how, Angie, I know you're a Shambhala Buddha student, so right.
Yeah, I always think about that. There's that story of where was it the Sakyong that was riding with the horse, and he had to trust the horse, right? Like there was some kind of thing they had to cross over, and the Sakyong could have saved himself, or he could have gone with the horse, but like the horse was like, we're in this together. Like, and then there's also all those teachings about synchronizing your mind, like with the example of the horse.
That's what I was going to bring up. Is Trungpa Rinpoche would talk about how he even said as extreme a statement as you cannot be a warrior, a peaceful warrior, meaning brave and kind and vulnerable in this world, if you don't ride a horse, if you don't have that experience, or at least if you don't know a horse. But yeah, just that feeling, like Kelsey was saying, of you have to be directly in touch with the feeling of the horse and how it's feeling. And like you alluded to, Angie, they're easily startled, even though they're so big, they're so gentle, and they're so careful because their legs are so vulnerable. So yeah, it's a real, like, the metaphor in Trungpa Rinpoche would talk about is that you have to be in touch with every detail of your life intimately, and then that trust develops, and then kind of auspicious coincidence, which we've been talking about, manifests once you're in direct contact with your life. You're not shying away from the difficult parts. You're just really like in the flow with your horse.
Yeah, and when that happens, it can be very powerful because a horse has a lot of energy.
We had a little comment just when we were talking about snake to horse, is someone saying, is that like the transformation of a caterpillar into the butterfly, shedding the kind of caterpillar skin and blossoming into a more full expression of energy and joy and beauty? And
Yeah, that sounds like it could be a good way of looking at it, like a really beautiful way of looking at it. But one difference is that the butterfly has more of an image of fragile, like very fragile and beautiful, and the horse horse is a very powerful animal. So we have this ability to really bring in a lot of positive energy. Oh, and we have a little snake right there, right? Willow is ornamenting you with the snake.
Our wood snake, right?
yeah, and yeah, Angie, we have a score to settle because you're definitely partly responsible for all of our coming together in this little angel.
I am so happy that I'm so happy for you because I know like this was just so important for both of you, and I know like yeah, I'm just so glad. Like everyone's always so happy when like two people come together and love each other, and then to create a family, what a gift.
Yeah, thank
Aww,
you.
thank you so
No, you've really been part of our journey, our love, because we do these touch-ins on, Eastern astrology. Really know what you call the entire category, and but from a kind of mindful or contemplative point of view. So yeah, it's so helpful. Like Amy says, thank you for sharing your experience and knowledge.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is a connection to maybe a caterpillar in opening up into a butterfly, but a very like strong butterfly. Much more much more a much more speed and power. And I think actually that's something that I've been seeing a lot of folks posting about it. For some reason this year people are really excited about the Lunar New Year. I've seen a couple theories on it. Someone said maybe that because we're in the place that we are, especially in the US, that everyone is kind of idealizing Asian like community-based societies. So like people are in the mahjong and
Instead
like
of sad,
drinking hot water.
so like down on ourselves, we're like, there must be some wisdom or guidance elsewhere because we're messing it up.
Well, but it's also idealized because that's not completely true, right? So,
Sure. Yeah, that was the big
but
problem back in the 70s. Is all the Western students would always want to like dress in an Eastern way or whatever, adopt all the kind of cultural trappings instead of practicing the heart. Like Trungpa Rinpoche was always like, forget all that stuff, practice meditation, sit more, meditate more, sit more.
yes, exactly. Removing that exotic part of it and really getting to what the core of it is. And so in any case, I think there is some kind of connection. People are also very attracted to horses. And I think that
Yeah.
we are looking for a little bit of more straightforward support, I think, this year. And but what I'm seeing a lot is people are like, oh, it's all about speed and strength. But I really like this idea of focusing on, this year could be, it's a fire horse year.
Yeah. So what does that mean? So most people may know, but there's 12 animals. Is that right? And then there's 12. Oh no. How many signs are there?
There's 12 animals and there's 5 elements, which
Five
creates a
films she had.
60-year cycle.
So now we're in the fire horse. So the fire horse would be different than the wood horse or the metal horse. So what does the fire horse mean?
So the fire horse, it's a yang fire year. So it's like fire, it has the qualities of being all consuming, a lot of inspiration, passion, movement, but it's not like a little fire, like a little candle or a little incense stick. It's like a bonfire. It's a big fire. So which seems appropriate because it feels like the world is already on fire, right? So
Right.
um so there's a lot of big transformation. It can be all consuming. So it's a very strong energy, as with the horse. And the horse is also related to fire element too. So it's a very like fiery, strong, a possibility for a very speedy, passionate, transformative year. But one thing I wrote in the elephant article is
Which
that if we
I
thought
have
of,
shared. I have shared your articles so many times.
oh really?
I love it. Like almost every night, I feel like I share it.
I think people like that too. I think people want to know a little bit about what's happening, right? Because so much is out of their control. So there's this ancient wisdom that looks at life in like 60-year cycles and has been around very long. So there's some strength in that. So like the fire horse could be likened to the energy of a thoroughbred, and I kind of look at like that could go one way or it could go another way,
Yeah.
right?
For my time riding horses, which was a lot back in the day, thoroughbreds they're beautiful and they're fast, of course, but they're probably the almost most neurotic and kind of flighty, jumpy among the horses. Like we always loved riding Arabians because they were so beautiful and much more kind of relaxed and grounded.
Yeah, my partner said something like it's kind of like a chestnut. I don't know what that means though.
Yeah, the color, yeah. The
Yeah.
color of the horse. Yeah.
Yeah, but she said she's like it's like a thoroughbred, like a racehorse. And another aspect, though, speaking to the neurotic part, that I think is also very interesting is that you would never keep a horse on its own.
Ah,
So, or else it would get neurotic. You would never just have one horse.
interesting.
And I think that this also points to an importance of focusing on community this year.
Love that. Love that. Love that.
Yeah, because when a horse is on its own, it gets neurotic. It needs to be like, if we think about wild horses, they'd be in a herd. They're herd animals, and
Mm.
they need to be around other horses or other animals to have some sanity.
I love
And
that. So
yeah.
let's have and the public can join in Ask Dr. Angie. So one of my inspirations moving to Indianapolis, and I say this with humility, really, because it's a new town and there's a lot of great things going on here, and there's tons of community and there's tons of things going on all the time. They're super social. But one thing I feel like I'm missing personally is there's all kinds of great little bookstores, but there's not like a third place community that I've seen that doesn't involve alcohol or anything, that just everyone can go. And so I really have been wanting to start like a space, that maybe would have some books from some local folks, and we would have some zero waste stuff, and it would have some, coffee, and it would have some, just a space basically for people to hang out. So that feels like what you just said. That feels like, wow, what a great aspiration for the year. The horse wants some community. The horse wants some to be in the herd. People want to connect in this crazy time, the fiery time. So what do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I think that's what a lot of people are longing for, especially now too, is that we went through a period of time where we were all so disconnected. And you know, we were also disconnected from each other, and we have to really make a big effort to connect. And so many people want to have connections that, like, I love the idea that there's some coffee, some books, but there's no real agenda, because we've been so agenda driven. Like, people are freaking tired now. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I don't want to do anything.
But
Like, so many people.
what do Americans do? I can't speak about other countries, so I'm not trying to pick on Americans, but I know Americans. What do we do when we're overwhelmed and exhausted? We sit down, we get on our phones, we doom scroll, we look at TV for 5 hours straight. Neither of those things involve healing or rest. And both, I mean, they can. I don't want to be too mean. Like watching a good movie with popcorn and a loved one. We love to do that. But like, and you know, honestly, I find a lot of inspiration on Instagram sometimes. But you know, instead, maybe we can find ways to actually relax. Take a bath, like Kelsey loves to do that. I love to do it too, but I'm too big for our bathtub here in Indy.
Oh no!
I know. We're working on it.
We're working on it. And you know, but read a good book. I've been reading, you know, everyone's probably read, all these studies came out saying that like literacy or reading has dropped by 20% or 80% or something or other in the past 20 years. I can't remember the numbers, but they're not good. So, you know, pick up a good book, and it could be a dumb book, you know, it could be a fun book, but just find healing, wonderful things to do with your tiredness.
Yeah, I think there's a big longing for that, because and I think also the idea of the horse, the metaphor or the archetype of the horse, lends to that too, because the horse doesn't really need to do very much during the day. It's happy to just be hanging out, right? And then if it needs to, it goes and runs somewhere if someone asks it to do something for, and it supports the community. I think that, like, now, especially I've been seeing now, like, people don't want more stuff. We don't need anything more. Like, even people who like buying stuff, like, they're just like, I don't need more stuff, right?
Yeah, we have like great taste. We do secondhand eco, and it's still this feeling of like we have enough.
Everyone has enough stuff. Everyone has enough on their to-do list. Everyone has enough like activities. Everyone has enough Zoom classes that they never watch, that they have recordings of. Everyone has enough information. You can look up anything, but really know nothing, right?
Is
So
there something to be said about, like, I know you said most of the day, you know, we think of horses as running really fast in one direction, sort of single pointed, and but they do a lot of like being during the day, right? So it's almost like people are kind of burnt out on doing, and it's like, is there some way that the fire horse can teach us how to be in a sort of more direct or like attuned way, if that makes sense?
I think that's exactly the teaching of the fire horse. Or the horse is like, you know what? You can be like exactly as you said, Kelsey, be during the day when you need to for a reason. You can start go. You can go as fast as you need. You have that power. I don't know what my husband's. What are you looking for? Okay. He's like moving behind you.
He's trying to come in and give you a smooch.
Yeah.
He's trying to photobomb us.
Yeah, it's the Murphy's Law of Instagram Live, that someone needs something in the room.
Yeah, I know. One time I was teaching a Zoom class and he started crawling on the floor, and I was like,
my God, I love that.
And I was like, they can see you.
Wait, I love that. Do you know that famous video where this guy is being interviewed about like world politics?
No.
And oh my God, you have to Google it after this. Everyone should. And he's like literally on live TV, like CNN, about like some in-depth thing. And then his little like 2-year-old struts in, swinging her arms in some ridiculous outfit. La la la, and he's like kind of embarrassed, and he's like trying to push the kid away without like breaking focus.
Oh my gosh.
And then a little like baby scoots in on his or her like little like scooter thing that you can put a baby into. La, 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 and is like total. And then the mom who knows that he's on live TV. It's super important for their whole family, probably. It's a big deal. Like, like, like army crawls in or something, trying to get both of them out, and then one of them comes back in or something. Anyway, it went super viral. It was adorable.
That's so funny. You
Yeah.
know, I was like posting a podcast of me and my business partner Laura, and the little clip of it, she's like, I start talking, and then she like leaves the screen to go get like a book and comes back and puts her headphones back on, and I was like, maybe we should try to both be on the screen when we're doing this, and she's like, you know what, people like this off scripted stuff now, and I talked to this other influencer, and she was like, yeah, people love it when these mess ups happen now. So it's an interesting, like, people want things less polished, right?
Well,
But
there's, I think some of it's neurotic, from a Buddhist point of view, but there's this rule that like the eye or the mind gets bored looking at nothing changing for more than a couple minutes. And I think that's sort of stupid as someone who like has done a million so-called boring Buddhist programs for months and ever. We don't need to be entertained all the time. Like a little boredom is healthy. That enables us to actually relax. Cool boredom and all that. Your husband.
yeah, yeah. In fact, I went to a really nice meditation gathering last night. But because you're a Shambhala like me, like I'm used to like silence, and it was like the whole time that was talking. So
Yeah.
Which is fine. I think that's very approachable and wonderful
Yeah.
for some people. But I was like, it just wasn't what I'm accustomed to. But
Well, I
the
think
world is
everyone
changing.
from a nervous or fear-based or like speedy, exhausted point of view, everyone wants to fill the space all the time. So I think
Yeah.
that was sort of the connection of what I was talking about is like people love it when something random is happening in the background because they
Yeah.
feel bored, like something needs to happen.
They
And
need the entertainment.
some of that's fun, but I think some of that is like, in the Buddhist teachings, there's hot and cool boredom. We have an article about that on
Mm-hmm.
elephantjournal.com. And, once you relax through hot boredom, which is that uneasy feeling, you get to actual relaxation. So boredom actually is a gateway to what you need, not something to entertain away.
Yes, I agree. Oh, I noticed in the chat someone mentioned like in terms of this year having more grassroots community organizations and more communication. And I think that is important because that still lends to this idea of community. And I really appreciated what Kelsey said about it's like having more time to be and chew on things, which is what horses do.
Yeah.
And then they can have the power when necessary, and we as humans, we can decide to we could decide to lead the energy in the direction that we wanted to support us, because horses made the life of a human or human civilization much more advanced, much more strengthened it, and we can use that power to help us. So it doesn't necessarily have to mean like, oh, you have to go as fast like a horse. I'm looking at it as, what do you want to harness? What can you lead towards with mindfulness? And what can you do to guide the energy and the strength that you have at your disposal this year in a more productive way? Because you can't just run in circles if you want, or you could be more mindful about it and lead that energy in the way that you wish it to go.
I love that. Yeah. And I think it's sort of sad that when we think of horses, we just think of them running. Like horses are not a cowboy movie running across the plains. Horses are horses. Horses want to hang out and eat their grass and like, frolic. And they're not just, I'm vegan and all that. They're not just to be like serving us and running around and working hard.
Yeah,
They're
right.
beings.
They're beings. So I think there's this importance there. And I've seen so many people like writing about, oh, it's just about speed and this and this. And that's true. But you could also look at it as, how can I harness the gift of strength that's been offered to me in a really mindful way that is supportive, and then also not have to jump on that bandwagon of like literally running in circles, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my experience with horses is that it's like that gentle power. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
powerful, they're fast, but really they only do that when they need to. They're really gentle and they're really strong, really powerful. And the more, like Kelsey was saying, you're intuitive, you're in touch with the terrain of every little detail. So that probably carries over to the year, right? Do you think?
Yes, I definitely think so. And I think also just because as a whole, I mean, literally everyone I've talked to is just tired. So I think that what we need less of
We have a
is
newborn, we're
speed.
not tired at all. Yeah.
Oh, so how is that going to work to create a space? Are you gonna, well, I think that maybe that you need help. You need support. You need,
I need help. Yeah.
Totally need help and support. Yeah, we're in the 2 week, like the first 2 weeks without family here, which is, I think, as a postpartum doula, one of the like most sort of under-resourced times because, you know, kind of the excitement of the newborn phase with like the community and stuff is still there, but it's, you know, kind of past, and then family that's been supporting eventually goes back home, and then the sleep deprivation is like compiled at this point, right?
Compounded, yeah.
Compounded.
oh,
But yeah,
Yeah.
so help and community and like asking for help from places you might not normally are kind of themes that we're working with in real time.
But yeah, and I think you were also asking about like creating a third space
that
kind of
too,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere that families and babies can be.
Yes. That's one of our dreams about it is that you could like, I guess there are some places in Indy, which is so cool before my time, but during her years here where you could go get coffee and you could drop off your kids with YMCA or whatever. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, like just things that would support all people, whatever age, you know, elderly, young, you know, a lot of our favorite businesses always have like some wooden kids toys and books at the bottom, like Rebecca's and Boulder. And, you know, I love that.
Needhammer.
Need Hammer. Yeah, a great cafe that we love, help, you know, employs the homeless. So just having like, kind of, I love how you said it, like no agenda, like really having just the mission is really just to be
Mm-hmm.
kind of helpful and fun and a space for people, not a particular like we want to make, you know, 35% profit on every, you know, a lot of that will happen organically. Like my favorite book is business book ever is Small Giants. If people haven't read it, everyone should read it. If you,
Okay, I'll write it down. Small Giants.
it'll change your life. It's amazing, and it really is sort of the if you build it, they will come kind of thing. Like if you really follow your mission,
Mm-hmm.
success will happen. But the coolest thing about the book is it's written by a business writer. It's not written by a hippie. It's not written by a spiritual activist or whatever. It's written from a business point of view, and it profiles 18 different businesses who have done that. So I think the whole people are always criticizing capitalism. You know, I was brought up Buddhist, and we're big on like drive all blames into accountability. I'm like, you're part of it. No one's forcing you to buy your crap on Amazon and destroy the planet. It's just easier to do that. It's harder to go to the local grocery store, Good Earth, in our case, in Indy, and bring your own tote bag and buy organic glass and skip the plastic and, you know, maybe be vegan if you don't want to hurt the animals and you want to heal the planet. But whatever, you know, like just be a benefit. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's harder, but you know, you can get bulk, you can make it affordable. We just never blame ourselves. We're always like, oh, it's Elon Musk's fault, which it definitely is. But like, you know, okay, so they're destroying the planet and they're selfish. What are you going to do about it? You going to give up your own power? Jane Goodall, her middle name, Goodall, Willa Goodall Lewis, our little baby girl here. Jane Goodall was always like, never give up hope. And the reason you never give up hope is because you can make a difference. And all of us times a billion can make a difference.
Yeah. So I think that's a great teaching, especially because community is so important. And even
Yeah.
doing small things for your community and being a part of it and just knowing that making one small difference can make a big shift. That's really important.
It really can. It's not like one or the other is. We can blame the huge corporations and the billionaires who are destroying the planet out of their rapacious greed, but we
Mm.
can also take responsibility and say, I can do my little piece. I'm not going to give up my power. And in fact, community altogether has immense power.
Yeah, so like it's making me even think about that idea of the fire, right? So, you know how I said like yin fire is like a small little candle, and say like yang fire is a big bonfire or wildfire. And so even one little individual flame could create something big in a good way or in a bad way, right? So you can be ignorant and it can create a lot of destruction and be all consuming. Or you could be thoughtful and it can be something that's very healing, like the sun, or shine light on so many people, right?
Love that.
So it's how you want to harness it. So again, with the idea of the horse, we could connect to that power of the horse, like Kelsey was saying, like we connect with the legs of the horse, right? Or how Rinpoche was talking about how we can synchronize our body and mind, right? And we have these extra powerful legs that can carry us through next year. But how do we want to train it? Do we want to trust it? Do we want to investigate how we're connected to it? And can we use this as a partnership that gives us strength, or is it something that will, are we going to continue to further like separate ourselves from others, get more neurotic, and create more destruction? Because that's also the potential too.
That's the potential with the fire horse, because the nature of fire can go one way or the other, kind of.
Yes, fire could be complete. Yeah, like even in a couple weeks, I'll be in LA, and it's like the anniversary of those fires there, and I'm gonna actually be doing a blessing ceremony for someone in Altadena. Her
Wow.
house burnt down.
Yeah.
She's designing a new one now, but yeah, like things small like that. I think in Altadena they said it was like an electrical spark, right?
I want to give a shout out to Amy DeBlest. You have been
Mm.
really leaving great comments. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So what did she write? What?
Healing and community, she just said. But
Mm.
before I think she had a longer question that I was unable to
Okay, let's see. What
take into
what would
my mind.
Amy asked, what would be some negative attributes? Feel like we will miss out on things if we don't show up for events or online activity. Place where, okay, so I guess she's saying, I think the question is, what if you feel like you're going to miss out if you don't show up for everything? Well, I think that people are just plain tired and not showing. I don't know about you. Like, I'm teaching a class tonight at New York Insight, a Feng Shui class. It's so funny. There's like only 4 people in person signed up, 4 or 5 people, and it's like 25 people online. So nobody wants to go anywhere. They want
Yeah,
the recording for later.
but that's kind of what I was trying to get at before is we we're tired, we're burned out, we're
We're
overwhelmed, we
tired.
feel hopeless and
Hmm.
helpless because
Yeah.
a lot of the news stuff, I think, and climate crisis and all that's real. And I think a lot of us want to ignore all of it and push it away, and a lot of us want to engage and be helpful. But
Hmm.
however we feel, we think what we need to do at the end of the day is not go out. We need to kind of zone out, watch a Hallmark movie, doom scroll on our phone, whatever. When really what we need often is not like low level relaxation, but like inspiring relaxation. Maybe go to a community theater, maybe, do something relaxing. You don't have to run around more, but like connect and get inspired. Think of the last time you got re-inspired about your life. It usually was when your brain was and your heart were lighting up.
Well, like they always say, in the shower, but that's alone. But also simply, of course, taking a walk and
Yeah.
talking to a friend in person. I think that's what lots of people are longing for. And it is hard to get out of the house, I think, because we have these Zoom options now,
Yeah.
or online options now, or we can watch, and anything we want is streaming now, and we can get it immediately.
But I mean, you're incredibly young and lovely, but like you're old enough like me to remember we used to have very much fewer options in terms of what we watched, and what we watched was actually a whole movie.
Yeah. We went to like
A video.
Blockbuster or whatever
Yeah.
and got like, and we had rewinded and everything.
And now I watch like 20 minutes of one thing and 10 minutes of another thing, and I'm working in between. I mean, I'm working nights, so it's like a bit of a special circumstance, but like it's way less relaxing. We have way more choices, but it's actually more commercials, more monetization, more gamification. It's like we're being monetized at night by these Amazon and Apple and all these streaming platforms. Yeah, so connected, we're disconnected. So can you watch a full movie without, being distracted? Get your phone in a different room. Like I'm talking to myself here too.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, because it's so easy to give up on your movie because like, oh, maybe I'll just watch that other one and watch that other one. I think that it goes back to, well, how can we tie it back in with the teachings of the horse, right? All we have to do is yawn
yeah,
and be simple. I mean,
yeah.
I think there's a key to simplification. And
It's
horses are actually pretty simple, right?
Kelsey was saying everyone should read the book Corduroy.
Oh,
Can you
I
see
don't know
that?
corduroy.
Well, time to read it. No, and I love what you said about like going for a walk or being alone. Like I definitely am not saying you have to connect with others. Robert Redford, I guess, in his dying message to his grandchildren said, go sit beneath a tree and listen. Like, I think, Amy, who's been commenting, forest bathing, whatever it is, connecting with nature is definitely a connection, a re-inspiring connection. So whether it's alone in the bathtub or in a forest or just your neighborhood tree or whatever, or it's in community going to First Friday art event or whatever it is, yes, like find ways that re-inspire us.
Well, sitting with the tree is not being alone. You're with the tree. Taking a bath, maybe
Oh,
you're alone at home, but you're with the water.
yeah.
You're with
oh,
another
the book.
living being or the
And
book, right?
I love to read a book in the tub. That's partly why I miss it so much. Because, you can't have your electronics. I mean, you can, I guess, but
Oh,
you
I
shouldn't.
listen to audiobooks. I
Oh, well,
know.
I think it's good.
It's a little
Yeah.
dangerous. Keep it on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really encourage, yeah, maybe try to like forget, like just try to read a physical book or
Yeah.
magazine, like The New Yorker. I love to read The New Yorker in the tub because it gets wrinkly. So,
Mm-hmm.
Amy said dopamine burnout resonance can anchor in times of uncertainty.
So again, there's another teaching with the horse. See, the horses are like not too complicated. They're not thinking, oh, I wonder what Amy said about me. I think that did Amy misunderstand what I said? Like as opposed to like the monkey. The monkey, I forgot, Kelsey, are you a monkey?
That's me.
Yeah,
That's
see
You're
the
in
monkey.
my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're a tiger, right? Okay.
Yeah,
So
look at you. Wow.
so monkey, monkey might be like, and even a real monkey, you can imagine a monkey's like, oh my gosh, like, how do I get to that? Like, how do I get to that banana? But what if they eat that banana? But I'm going to hit them with the banana, like they're thinking a lot.
All of the everything that could happen, like the monkey plays through in their mind just in case, right?
Right. And then, but the horse is just like, I just want to chew my grass and give me an apple and like, just tell me where you want me to go. Right.
Yeah, I mean, horses are, yeah, I mean, yeah.
And then also let's have fun doing it. Let's like run as fast as we can. Let's like enjoy the wind in our hair. So there's also like we can also simplify our lives too a little bit like that. We don't have to like the snake, also very like thought like manipulative, like serpentine, moving back and forth. How do I catch my prey? Like this is not what's going through the horse's mind. So we can also look at like what's the most important thing. Let's eat. Let's run as fast as we can. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy life.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do we do specifically over the next couple weeks, if anything?
Well, I've been asking people, like when I've been teaching, to I'm asking people to sit down and kind of think about like what is it that they shed in the last year, what's transformed, and also what it's still kind of there. Like if you remember that story about the horse being startled because the snake jumped off, like there might be still something that you haven't thought of. And you could even write that down and contemplate that, and you could even burn that piece of paper and let it go. And then to really think about like what is it that you want now to grow instead, that you can use the energy of the horse to propel you forward. So I think that's really important. And then also, you know, for different animals, there's different there's different compatibilities with the horse. So tiger is neutral and monkey is neutral, so that's good.
I thought
But the
tigers and horses liked each other.
oh wait, sorry. Good. That's good with, let me just pull up my notes. Hold on. So yes, tiger is actually great. You have your harmony. You're in a harmony with the horse, and the monkey is neutral.
Okay.
So both of you guys are pretty good this year. Actually, and then Waylon, your year is going to be better than it has been.
What about the snake? Because
Snake,
our little baby was born in the snake.
Yeah.
snake is also neutral.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
Leo is the pig.
Oh, right, pig.
So pig is neutral, and it's better because last year was a hard year for the pig.
Okay.
Aww.
Yeah.
What about
That's
the cock or the rooster?
So the rooster is neutral, so it's good. The animals that really need to worry is rats. Yeah. So oh yeah, we have an elephant article with all the animals, and if you don't know what animal you are, you can find the year in that. So the rat is gonna have a really challenging year
Okay.
because
Sorry,
it's
rat.
rat is in the basically like in the most the most challenging position. Ox is also in a challenging position. So rat, ox, and horse will have a challenging year.
Really? The horse?
Yeah. Because people think, oh, it's my year,
Yeah.
it's a good year. But
Yeah.
no, it's not. It's not a good year when it's your year.
I remember that coming up. Did we do Year of the Tiger recently?
Tiger was a few years ago. We must maybe think maybe the first time we
Yeah.
did this was Tiger. Was it,
Yeah,
have
because
we done it this many times?
I think we have. I think we're old buddies now. And then Amy just asked, because there is a window. Amy in the comments said, "What year am I? My birthday is today. So happy birthday, Amy. Cheerful birthday."
Oh,
But
happy birthday, me.
there's that transition month, right? So is she
Right.
snake or is it different?
So, Amy, what year were you born? So the transition happens on February 4th. So if you're born between January 1st and February 3rd, you're actually the year prior. So, and
Yeah.
happy birthday, Amy, by the way. So, for instance, if you always thought you were a snake but you were born in January, oh yeah, oh my gosh, she's a snake, 1977, right? So Amy, you thought you were a snake, right? Because snake is 1977, but you're actually a dragon.
Wait, so is Leo actually a monkey?
No, I think we
figured
did
it out.
that. Yeah,
Okay.
the year
Yeah,
prior
we
with the
figured it out.
pig.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. So that's funny because I was just talking to my friend Yolanda, who's born in the year, she's born in 1977, but because she's born in January, she's actually a dragon, and her whole life she thought she was a snake.
And Leo is a pig, but he's actually a monkey.
No, he's a pig.
So he's a pig. So he's actually a.
No, he's whatever is after the pig. So he's actually.
So you thought he was a rat,
Yeah.
Okay, so
but he's actually, is he like 2020?
Yeah, January.
Okay.
2020.
Yeah. So March 2020 would be a rat. January 2020 is a pig.
Okay. And Angie, like just with the example of your friend thinking she was born in one year, but was in the prior one,
Mm-hmm.
how do you like recommend that people kind of work with the energies of the animal in which they were born.
If it's their year.
What?
If it's like, if they're a horse and it's the year of the horse kind of thing?
I more mean like you're a tiger and I'm a monkey. So like we learn about the attributes of that animal and kind of how it plays into our lives. Like, do you have any particular recommendations of how to work with the animal in which you were born, like the year of which?
Yeah. So if people are interested in this, there's definitely, I'm not an astrologer, but there's definitely people who do astrology, Chinese astrology, as like their main thing. And so there's actually an animal connected to your year of birth, your month of birth, your day of birth, and actually your time. So you actually have four, it's
Oh.
called four pillars. So there's
Oh,
four animals, but as a feng shui practitioner, I only use the year for what I do because I'm not an astrologer, but people can definitely look up their natal chart and learn more. So we like to say that the year animal is the animal of your heart. So it has a lot to do with how you connect with the world. And they'll say, for instance, like depending on the astrologer, like the hour you're born can be related to like it's because it's the most precise. It could be like your internal nature, right? So like I'm born in the rabbit hour. So like my inner nature is very sensitive, and very tender, like a rabbit, but my year is a dragon, and there's different ways that you could start to analyze all the pillars. But like on a very like basic entry level, people can start to learn about like yes, what their animal means. And I would recommend don't just look up like on the internet. I mean, that's great to look that up too, but also explore your own like understanding of those animals too, like if you have any experience of them, like you guys have experience, you have some understanding of horses, for instance, and that can give you some unique information that you can resonate with and begin to understand. And then it's also helpful to kind of look at like how you're relating to the energy of the year, because I remember when I first started studying feng shui, my mentor told my husband, who's a monkey, he told him, or she told him it was a tiger year, and actually tiger is challenging for monkey. So my mentor told him, oh, it's a tiger year, that makes sense that you're having some trouble with you're having like creative blocks and stuff. And after he learned that, he actually his creativity opened up much more because he learned that it was a challenging year. And because I think that there's an impression that everything should always be the same, right? But
Right.
things like Chinese astrology or even just cycles of nature, like winter time, right? We're always looking at like things. It can't always be the summer, it can't always be the winter, it can't always be the spring, it can't always be daytime, it's not always noon, it's going to be midnight too. And so we start to see that there's these natural shifts that begin to happen, and how can we be present for all of it instead of wanting it always to be different or wanting it always to stay stable when that is not how life works.
yeah.
Yeah, it flows and it revolves and it ebbs and it flows and it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as a monkey, that just makes me think that there's so much curiosity that can be had in terms of like, oh, what is the energy of this animal? Like, how can I learn from this? Or what can it teach me about my
Mm-hmm.
nature, the nature of others, or the nature of the world, or relationships, or the political landscape?
Well, what's always interesting, especially people who are like astrologers, they love looking up the charts of politicians
Mm.
to
Yeah.
understand. But I think like my husband's also a monkey. He's I think the same year as, or no, he's older than you, Kelsey. But like monkeys just have such a curious nature, and they're just so playful. And and then of course, like we know, like tigers are like very fierce, and they like take care of their like cubs. And then the dragon is of course the best, that's me. um and then
Dragons are
there's
always so full of themselves.
yeah. And then there's like, and then also in the, especially with Westerners, they don't like when they're like, oh, I don't like the sheep, or the sheep slash ram slash goat. They're like, I wish I was a dragon and not a sheep. Oh yeah, so oh yeah, yeah. So let's talk about that. So every year there's a lucky animal.
And thank you, you sent these to us. Angie makes these.
Yes, there's a little assembly line at my house right now.
Aww.
Well, it's just me and my husband. That's not much of an assembly line, but yeah, I hand make these, and so every year there's a different animal that it has a very compatible quality or energy with the year animal. So you can carry a three-dimensional figure of a ram, and so I started making these, and it's a little ram charm, and it has a hemp cord, and you can use this as like a keychain, or some people use it as a necklace, and people just put it on their purse or their wallet. And the idea is that the lucky animal, which is the ram, in the year of the horse, will protect you in the year of the horse.
I love that. I want to wear it as a necklace because I always like to have something, but I haven't had something for a long time.
Yeah, so a lot of folks wear it as a necklace, and you know what? Also, I don't know if you guys would relate to this, but my partner who's equestrian or who has a horse, she said a lot of times, you know, because you can never leave a horse alone, like in a stall or something. She said sometimes, like, or in their own pen by themselves without other animals. I think, yeah, so I think that the message I've been getting from people is that everyone's tired. Everyone is exhausted. They're a little bit worried about the fast-paced energy that they think horse, so it needs to be super fast. It's gonna like they need to do all these things to harness to like stay in the saddle, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's my impression. I
Yeah, that
think that
makes
you
me
can make the
sad.
choice.
It makes me feel like people have never been around horses and only think
Well,
about them in these like cowboy chase scenes. Like horses are gentle, curious. They're kind of boring. They're very pleasant. They just like to hang out and love each other. And like, that's it.
Mhm.
Forget it.
they can be pretty basic.
Yeah, forget about the saddle, forget about the harness. That's all like human things we're doing to horses. Horses, their nature is incredibly, like you said, I keep coming
Kind of
back to that.
mundane.
You have to be very intuitive with them.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yes.
very intuitive creatures.
Well,
Yeah, they
that's
can be
what Laura
cathartic.
says.
Yeah,
She said, if you go to a horse and you're freaked out, the horse will be freaked out. She said, the horse and this year
yeah,
is like a mirror. So what are you going to bring to it? How do you, and if you want to use this energy to support you, there's a lot of strength there. You
yeah,
have the choice. You
exactly.
don't have to let it drag you along or force you to go faster or force you to win a race. What can you do? Where do you want to channel that energy and the power? Or you could just be present.
And my experience with horses, similar to actually my dog who's right here. I'll see if I can get him on.
Oh.
Is not just they're not just going to be freaked out if you're freaked out. They're actually very empathetic, so they will feel what you're going through. But if you're
Mm.
going through something in an open way, they'll actually be really kind and gentle and loving. But if you're going through something and you're kind of like making it solid and you're trying to treat them in a solid way, you know,
Mhm.
like take out your emotions on them or something, they will not have it. They will fight you. They will get away from you. So if you're very open about your feelings, they're actually very empathetic and gentle with whatever you're going through.
Yeah, so that's a good reminder for this year too. Can you be open with your feelings? Can you be honest about them instead of putting on like a tough face or whatever, putting on whatever mask that is not true to what's really happening? Because the energy of the year will see through it. It can actually feel what's there.
Yeah, it's tough. I did this beautiful like horse training. It actually was more like a spiritual like, the whole purpose was to train us. So I had grown up with
Mhm.
horses and felt very comfortable and relaxed with horses. And I went and did this training with these people, and they were like, take this horse, Waylon. Everyone had to do it, but take this horse, Waylon, from point A to point B across over here. And they gave me like the biggest horse, giant, strong horse. And because they gave me a solid idea of what I needed to do, I couldn't do it. the horse was like, I'm not walking from here to there. I'm good right where I am. And the more, obviously, the tendency then is to try to pull them or whatever it is. No way. You're not pulling a horse if they don't want to go. I mean, I guess you could abuse a horse maybe, but even in that case, they're being gentle with you because they could kick the living crap out of you. So, of course, I didn't abuse the horse or anything. So I just couldn't move the horse. And they were like, all right, let go of that agenda completely and go join everyone else. Or I don't remember how they put it. But somehow, as soon as I let go of my agenda with them, the horse was like, all right, I'll go over there.
Yeah.
That's another way to think about this year, especially with the different aspirations that we have. You know, what do, like for me, I'm personally working on resting. And you know, I spent many years, you know, all entrepreneurs here, right? It's many
I've
years
really
kind of,
admired your entrepreneurial energy. You're always doing great stuff. I love it.
but I'm tired, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm tired. I don't know. I think you guys are probably tired. I'm just tired of hustling. I don't have the energy anymore. And
Yeah.
so this year is really about like what can not what can I learn that effort could never teach me?
Well, if I may, because I think about this a lot as an entrepreneur, but also as a Shambhala Buddhist, this is a time not when you should stop doing what you do or stop exerting, but you need to stop exerting the way you've been exerting, completely stop that, and then start fresh, and then maybe rest, maybe like take a spa thing or a vacation or a bath or whatever for however long, could be a couple months or a week or whatever you can do. But then, you know, reread that stuff. Have you done Warrior Assembly and all that in Shambhala?
I haven't, you know, I'm gonna try to go because they're doing it at Karma Choling, but I don't want to go to Karma Choling. I want to go to Daichin Choling, so I'm gonna try to go to Daichin Choling.
Ooh, that's in
That's
France.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
We don't blame you for that. But
Well, because nothing wrong with Karma Choling, beautiful place to get married. But it's actually during my 50, turning 50 this year, and
What?
I don't want to be at Warriors Assembly on my 50th birthday.
okay.
So
Although
I want to.
the whole place can celebrate you. But what I was going to say about that, we're talking about Shambhala Buddhist like practice
Yeah.
things you do, but there's all these teachings on exertion and all accomplishing energy, and that actually the good stuff, the good exertion rises naturally out of the core of your being, and it's actually not tiring. So it's a wonderful, helpful, it's actually not a negative thing to feel burned out, because it's actually a message to you that you're exerting in a way that isn't fully coming out of the core of your being. So you can take a step back, relax, and then exert. And that doesn't mean you won't be tired or whatever, but it does mean that you can find a way to, because you're helping so many people. I think I love what you're doing. I love your book. I love your interviews. I love your whole thing. So
Yeah, I think there is so much that can come out of, like Waylon is saying, rest, though, you know, like taking a sort of
step back,
spiritual sabbatical of sorts where, you know, after having Willa, I took a 40-day postpartum retreat inside. And even though I wanted to go outside and like wanted to do things, especially towards the end, you know, I stayed with the energy of rest and restoration and physical healing and all of that. And, you know, by the time we were kind of out and about in the world again, it felt like, you know, I felt really revitalized, and there was a sort of organic energy that arose out of, you know, resting and deciding like what is, like, I can't remember what maybe we were about to go out of the house or something for the first time, but I remember that first jolt of like going into a stress response for the first time after resting and being so, you know, cared for and nourished and everything. And so, just in that like nervous system relaxed state and feeling like
there's some loud noise at the cafe.
No, something here, like, oh, someone was coming over, and I was like, immediately was like, oh, I gotta make them tea, and I gotta like, you know, get into host mode or something. And I just remember that feeling of like anxiety rushing up through my body, like, oh, I have to go back into this sort of like do it mode, you know? And having all that space for rest and restoration. You know, I just pushed Will out, so it's not like I'm just chilling, like I'm recovering, right? But even just having that 40 days of a nervous system sort of reset, I was so aware of when my nervous system hopped back. Like, oh, I have to do this because I just have to be in a doing energy rather than, oh, like my friend is coming over and I want it to be spacious and I want, you know, them to have tea if they also want to share that with me. And just catching that moment and then having more spaciousness around it. I think it was when Cassie came over for the first time with her kids. It really does just kind of bring forth like your organic gifts and, you know, thinking of it in the aspect of the snake turning into the year of the horse, like just releasing everything from last year and kind of just letting it turn to ash of it, you know, before like phoenix rebirth of fire. And the only thing that's like fueling the doing is what's essential or what feels really true.
Yeah.
Having a baby will do all of those things to us, though. But yeah, I think there's a lot to be said for getting sort of a different view of your life and how it's aligning with, you know, your body and your body's needs and everything, and coming from a really resourced place, and then going back out into the world in a way that just feels super aligned.
Yes, I think that's definitely resonating. It's definitely a time to really redo things, not the way that, not to be approaching exertion the way that I've been doing, and also definitely the nervous system is fried. So many people are like posting like about how their nervous system is just nervous, very there's a big longing for calm, spacious, just being without doing. And I think that's the key. So, and that's something new that actually I'm picking up from you guys from this conversation about the horse, is just like the horse is just like being most of the day.
They're like cows. I mean, they're different, but they're very similar in that they really are just happy in a field with each other, hanging out, being vaguely social, maybe frolicking a little bit here and there, but basically eating. They got to eat like all the time.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about the Shambhala stuff is if you study the tiger, I think it was the four dignities, you know, the tiger particularly is that energy of endless youthful energy, and you never get tired. They're very explicit about that. So studying a little bit around that, I think that's always been helpful for me, because I find when I get burned out, I look at how I've been showing up, and it's usually like not in a way that's not entirely good for me. And I feel like that's pretty important to notice, because people like you and me, Elephant, all of us in this community, we're actually trying to be helpful to others. So if we're showing up in a way that is good for engagement or good for whatever, and it's helping others, but it's not completely healing for ourselves, or fun or whatever, then it's probably not for those listening either. There's some energy there that isn't completely like relaxed.
Yeah.
And that's being relaxed is actually what leads to good exertion. So it's not laziness versus, it's not inaction versus accomplishment. It's actually saying you can accomplish more if you can explore how to explore the real true meaning of exertion and relaxation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that, I think that all of us can acknowledge that like your article, 2025 sucked. And
that was the
it was
title.
hard.
2025 sucked, and yet. So then I talked about like sort of what we could do with all that. Yeah.
And now we have an opportunity to simplify, to give legs to the things that we learned, and be in rest, and we have power available to us as if we need it. And I think actually your suggestion about like investigating like how you do exert your, like maybe we're tired because we're exerting things in a way that isn't supportive for us or doesn't come from our natural flow. And
Yeah.
so how can we notice like that signal? Okay, we're all exhausted. Why are we exhausted? Or why am I exhausted? And where is this what can you change and what can be adapted?
Yeah.
And what is that? What is the teaching in that? And then keep it simple and be very straightforward about it, like the horse.
And I want to acknowledge that, like Molly's tuning in from Minneapolis, like
Mm.
we're all going to feel exhausted and fried and freaked out, whatever our political persuasion is, as long as we're being led by a, con man rapist who wants to go to war over Greenland and Venezuela. And, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Like if we are being led by insane people, we're going to feel like this world is on fire. So, if you support him, great, but you're kind of enjoying that energy, and that energy is not going to be conducive to peace. So,
Well, and I think also this ties back to something else, which is the teaching of the horse, is about that community, that like if the further we isolate ourselves or if we separate ourselves, the more neurotic, more neurotic we become. So the key is to not separate, but how can we come together? How can we meet people and re-engage with people in our like simply as like it could be as simple as not being on social media as much and maybe having a meeting someone in person instead, or welcoming conversations with other people, or just being a kind person, like just finding ways to re-engage with the world, like when we were younger, right? Like going to the movies or going out for something or taking a walk instead of just sitting on our devices. That further separates us and isolates us and puts
yeah.
us in like these stalls by ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's all these videos of the good people of Minneapolis, and like one of them, following all the stress and fear and tragedy that's still ongoing, and they're like marching and parading, like with some people are dressed up as bears and some people are dressed up as whatever. It's like the arts community of Minneapolis coming together, and you're like, wow, there's so much beauty and kindness in ordinary people
Mm-hmm.
and in community coming together. And like, how am I feeling inspired right now,
Yeah.
given how awful everything is? Somehow these people manage to inspire me, and they're the ones going through it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just magic in community.
Yeah, it's like the Mr. Rogers always looking for the helpers.
Well said.
Yeah.
No matter how chaotic the world is, always look for the helpers. I think his mom said that.
Well, anyone can get these. Go to Angie's website.
Yay.
And we love Angie.
And Angie, just real quick, can you tell us
I
could talk to Angie all day.
Oh yeah, the ram.
Yeah. Can you tell us the significance of the ram and why
why
ram friends are helpful for
why
the
ram
horse
and
here?
the horse here? Yeah, exactly.
I love the ram and the pen. That makes a lot of sense to me. Like the community.
Yes, so there's the ram. Well, because so from an astrological perspective, you can imagine there's like a wheel, right? And that's like the zodiac wheel. And um the it's like a clock, and there's 12, right? 12 animals. And so the year god, as the year comes up, there's 60 different year gods, and the year god, which is called the Tai Sui of the year, wants to be sitting in the seat of the horse. So the year god wants to be sitting in that special seat this year, but the horse is kind of like either sitting on his lap or taking the spot. So the horse is insulting the year god. So that's why it's a very challenging year. You're not in a favorable position because you're taking the seat. And then there's these other adjacencies that create like auspicious relationships. So for instance, tiger forms a trine. It's tiger, I think tiger, dog, dog, and horse form a trine. It's like a triangle on the clock. So that's why that's a very harmonious relationship. And then the best friend, so there's another adjacency, and the other adjacency shows the best friend. And the best friend this year is the ram. So there isn't a specific reason except that that's how it lays out on the clock or on the wheel. So it's just a more harmonious relationship. But there is that story about like they actually have similar attributes, right? They're pretty straightforward, direct, like rams or sheep or goats and sheep are like they're herd animals, so they don't necessarily want to be like solitary. For instance, a dragon is more solitary. So they have similar proclivities, but that's mainly the reason why, because it's the adjacency on the wheel.
Okay.
Yeah, when we first got it from you, she was like, "It looks like a ram," and I was like, "Nah, it can't be." I think that like what's the horn of the ram? I think that's just there so that the horse can hang on the.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know, you're like, thanks for the horses. I'm like, the rams.
Yeah. All right, Angie. Well, so excited to connect further. All right, one last one. Amy, you've been the star. How can we take action intentional? Yeah, we're appreciative of it. Angie's awesome.
How to take intentional action today.
There's your beautiful envelope.
Oh, and I made sure to send you a reused one.
Aw.
Thank you.
You're speaking our love language over here.
Yeah, because I have a lot of students send me red envelopes, so you got one that was it was recycled.
Love it.
So we have one intentional action that everyone can do is I think the most important thing to do before the Lunar New Year is there's a Feng Shui thing you can do is you can sweep your home. So you're sweeping out kind of the chi of last year. But also that idea of sitting down and taking some time to contemplate like what you shed and what may still need to be shed this year. You know, you can think about like a scab. What scab needs to really come off this year, right? Maybe there's something that you took off last year, but you're trying back on again. But really, what needs to be shed and burnt, and then you can actually burn that piece of paper. So that's something that you could do.
Okay. All righty. I like it.
So I hope you guys get some sleep.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can see me yawning. I apologize.
No, I didn't see you yawning just because you have the newborn. But congratulations.
Thanks, Angie.
It was so nice to meet Willa. I saw Willa met Pema. I saw you post that on Facebook.
I have the video. I just have to figure out how to take quick time and edit it, which I don't really know how to do. But it's so cute. Pema's like, I see you and Kelsey. Where's this Willa? And I'm like, see that little head? Yeah.
I love it. You have to.
I know.
You have to do something with that.
Yeah, it's a treasure. Pema's teachings are so wonderful. She's still doing some live teachings with Shambhala Publications, and I highly recommend that to everybody. Pema Children.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's 90 or turning 90.
Wow. Okay.
I'm gonna see if I
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Willa.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, she waved.
Oh. Yeah, well, happy in advance. Happy year of the horse. It's been quite a year of the snake.
Yes. Okay, see you soon.
All right, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.